Touring to support a day at the races. Let's get into it on PLD Project's Crown Jewels next. Welcome to PLD Project's Crown Jewels. I'm your host, PLD, and this is the podcast where I take you on a journey through the entirety of the Queen catalog, the entirety of the solo catalog. We go song by song, and we figure out which version of song is the best version or crown jewel version of that song. Well, usually. Now, this week, a little different. We've done this a few times before. Last week, we finished up the Day at the Races album. So this week, we're going to talk a little bit about the tours that supported the Day at the Races. Now, that means we're not going to be listening to specific songs and picking out crown jewel versions of the songs, but we are going to talk about some of the covers they've done and what their set lists were at the time. I want you to know this isn't meant to be a big, deep dive into the tours. Perhaps after I'm done with the catalogs, maybe I'll come back and actually do specifically live concerts, live tours, and deeper dives into them. This is meant to be an overview. Now, last time I did this with the United at the Opera tours, I didn't actually have anything in the description for you to listen to because there wasn't anything new that we hadn't discussed before. This week, there is a few. Now, as you know, I've created the Ultimates playlist, or I'm creating the Ultimate playlist as we go along, the Crown Jewel playlist for Spotify. I've put that in the description below as well, so you can follow that if you'd like, as we create it week by week. But on YouTube Music, I also have an expanded version of that where I can include the unofficially released items, the ones that aren't on Spotify, the ones I've had to upload to YouTube Music. Well, let's call it what it are. Some of them are bootlegs, but I want to have a complete rendition of it. And I do want to talk about them. I won't add anything specifically, do a deep dive into listening of things that aren't officially released, but I will put those links in the description below so you can listen to them yourself on your own time if you would. Now let's look at these tours. I get all my information from queenconcerts.com and my friend Bob Wegner's queenlive.ca. Queenlive.ca is the ultimate resource for the Freddie Mercury era of Queen. So much information, you can't shake a stick at it. Queen Concerts is also a great help as well, though. Gives a lot of similar information, but also does a little bit more about the other concerts and live events, the Smile, the Solo, the Queen and Paul Rogers, the Queen and Adam Lamberts. So together, I have all the Queen knowledge of the live concerts that I need. But let's get into the Day at the Races Eras tour. There were 3 of them. I mean, there's 2 definitively. They did tour the world, which was North America and Canada mostly. And then they did tour Europe after that in 1977. I'm also going to include a third one here. The summer of 1976, they did 4 dates. It was technically around the era of Night at the Opera, and it was mostly Night at the Opera set list. But why I'm including it here and didn't include it in Night at the Opera is because they did debut a couple of tracks from A Day at the Races before the album was released. So it made sense for me to more include it in the Day at the Races era. Now, specifically, 4 dates that they did were in Edinburgh, Cardiff, and London. September 1st and 2nd in Edinburgh, the 10th in Cardiff, and September 18th in London, which is a very, very famous gig and seminal moment for Queen. Queen played a free gig in Hyde Park, where they played to well over 150,000 fans. They were given a 60-minute slot. They went over it by 20 minutes. And in fact, still didn't get to do their encores and were threatened to be arrested if they went back on stage. So it is a little bit of a shortened gig than most. I will say it was recorded, but is not really up to snuff for release. I don't think we'll ever see the full gig released. We have gotten some things cleaned up and included in documentaries, included in bonus tracks, so to speak. But it's a very famous gig. If you find it on YouTube pretty easily, and it's definitely a fun gig. Now, the set list here is more closer to Night at the Opera set list because, like I said, the band didn't have the album out yet. So let's get into that. It starts off with Bohemian Rhapsody intro. We get Over Battle, Sweet Lady, White Queen, Flick of the Wrist, You're My Best Friend, Bohemian Rhapsody, Killer Queen, March of the Black Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody reprise, Bring Back That Lou Ray Brown, Brighton Rock, Son and Daughter snippet at the end, 39, You Take My Breath Away, which is a debut from A Day at the Races. The Prophet Song, Stone Cold Crazy, Doing All Right, Blazing on a Sunday Afternoon, Tie Your Mother Down making its debut, and it will stay in the Queen concert forever. So now all the Queen concert eras after that. Keep Yourself Alive, Liar, and Lap of the Gods Revisited, Now I'm Here, and closed out with Big Spender and Jailhouse Rock before the closing tape of God Save the Queen. Next up was their world tour in 1977, much more of a full Day at the Races set list, or a fuller Day at the Races set list. Although when you say world, it's really the US and Canada. Started in January 13th of 1977 in Milwaukee, finished out March 18th of 1977 in Edmonton. Throughout, they played Madison, Columbus, Indianapolis, Detroit, Saginaw, Louisville, Kalamazoo, Richfield, Ottawa, Montreal, Chicago, Toledo, Toronto, Springfield, College Park, New York City, Uniondale, Syracuse, Boston, Providence, Philadelphia, Miami, Lakeland, Atlanta, Birmingham, St. Louis, Dallas, Houston, Phoenix, Inglewood, San Diego, San Francisco, Vancouver, Portland, Seattle, Calgary, and Edmonton. Unfortunately, not many recordings do exist. Seattle from 1977 was heavily bootleg, though, and is a great recording if you ever get your hands on it. Boston was also a good recording as well, but not a whole lot leaked from that era. Now, a full typical set list from that era. They did open the Day at the Races intro now. Tie Your Mother Down opened the concert with a blast on. It's a perfect set list opener. They did Over Battle, White Queen, Somebody to Love, Killer Queen, Millionaire Waltz, You're My Best Friend, Bring That Back That Leroy Brown, Sweet Lady, Brighton Rock, 39, You Take My Breath Away, White Man, The Prophet Song, Bohemian Rhapsody, Stone Cold Crazy, Keep Yourself Alive, Liar, The Lap of the Gods Revisited, Now I'm Here, Big Spender, Jailhouse Rock, and then God Save the Queen. Every once in a while, they'd add a little bit further. They did play in Seattle, Bebop Stupid Cupid, and Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. Yes, a cover of the Elton John song, and we'll get to that in a little bit. And finally, they did the European tour, which lasted from May of 1977, May 8th specifically, to June 7th of 1977 in London. The two dates there, June 6th and June 7th in London, were at the famous Earl's Court, part of the Silver Jubilee, they call that part of the tour. Is a very famous gig. It's been heavily bootleg. In fact, once it was supposed to be, it was considered at least, I believe, for release, but something happened with the recordings and the band wasn't happy with it, so we never got the full version. We have had tracks released. We've had bonus tracks released from that. There's definitely a video that has gone out unofficially, and it's really good. So if you find it, you want to watch that concert, you can definitely find it on the interwebs, if it were. The set list they played here, they get involved a little more of the Day at the Races songs. Day at the Races intro, Tie Your Mother Down, Over Battle, White Queen, Somebody to Love, Killer Queen. Good Old Fashioned Lover Boy from Day at the Races made its debut at this point. Millionaire Waltz, You're My Best Friend, Bring Back That Leroy Brown, Death on Two Legs, Sweet Lady, Brighton Rock, 39, Take My Breath Away, White Man, The Prophet Song, Bohemian Rhapsody, Stone Cold Crazy, Keep Yourself Alive, The Lap of the Gods Revisited, Now I'm Here, Liar, Jailhouse Rock, and then, of course, God Save the Queen. Now, as far as tracks, they played a few times, but not every tour, every part of the tour. We had Big Spender, Doing All Right, Procession, which they used to open up the Earl's Court concerts. I believe Procession was because of the Silver Jubilee. That's why they decided to do that. Stupid Cupid, Bebop, all covers we've talked about before. So let's talk about three other songs now that were played during this era. We should have a little bit of discussion on. I put links below for Lucille, Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, and I'm a Man. I'm going to start quickly with Lucille. I did put their version from the Earl's Court concert below. Queen only played it twice at both of those Earl's Court gigs. The only time they played Lucille, which is a famous Little Richard song. We're not going to talk about it any more than this. I'm not putting this down yet because, as I've tried to make clear for this entire podcast, officially released recordings are going to take precedence, and that's where I want to discuss everything else. I'm going to discuss the song when it was officially released, and if they did play other eras, I will talk about it then. And it was semi-officially released on the Cross's Fan Club album. Now, if you don't know who the Cross is, I've mentioned them a few times now. In the 1980s, after Queen stopped touring in 1986, Roger Taylor formed a side band called The Cross, where he recorded, he played guitar, he was the lead vocalist, and he had a full band behind him. They did 3 albums, they toured all the time. And they released 2 albums to the fan club Moby. So is it a really an official release? I say yes, because it was recorded by the band, it was released at least to fans. And during one of those dates, the first of the two officially released bootlegs, they're called, the official bootleg, I believe this one was called, they did play Lucille. So I'm going to talk about Lucille then. But it is below. Like I said, if you want to listen to the version now, we'll just talk about it later. The two other songs I did put below, Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. I put two versions in the link, in the description below for you to listen to. The band started playing this in February 4th, 1977, and then played it sporadically throughout the rest of their touring career, last time being July 19th, 1986, during Queen's last tour with Freddie. Now, Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting is a great Elton John song, but the band wasn't really sacred with it. A lot of time it was just a lot of heavy-handed piano playing and singing Saturday, 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 Saturday. Kind of jammed on a little bit. I will put a version here. The version I want to let you know I'm going to put into the expanded list is the July 19th, 1986 version from Cologne, because in 1977 they did play it, but it was more of like a minute or two version before they would segue out into other rock and roll songs. In the July 86 version, they played about a 3-minute jam on it, and so it's a lot of fun. That's the only reason why. Both versions are great. Both versions are fun to listen to. That's the reason why I'd add it to the expanded version, though, for now. Finally, the more interesting track that I wanted to talk about, I'm calling it I'm a Man, but if you watch bootlegs from this era, or you search out bootlegs from this era, you might see this song called Mannish Boy. Now, I'm a Man and Mannish Boy are technically two separate songs, kind of. They're both blues songs. I'm a Man was played by Bo Diddley. Muddy Waters did Mannish Boy, but really they were kind of the same song. Muddy Waters took a spin on I'm a Man and kind of played the same riffs, changed up the lyrics here and there, made his own version, called it Mannish Boy. Now, Queen's version, well, it's kind of maybe more of a combination of both at times, really, honestly. Freddie kind of threw lyrics at him. The riffs were pretty much the same. Basically, I'm just going to say that it's called I'm a Man to end any confusion. But if you do see Mannish Boy, it's pretty much the same song that they did overall. But there you go. So the one I'm going to put in the link I put down below for you to listen to is from Glasgow in 1977. And that's the one I'm going to add to my expanded Queen playlist. There you have it, folks. That is the quick dive into the tours and a couple of the covers that they played. Again, feel free to listen to those links below and tell me what you think about them. Leave comments, leave likes, please subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to my main channel. If you're listening to this on audio, hit that 5-star rating. Let me know what's going on. If you could help the channel even further, PLD Projects has a Patreon, patreon.com/PLD Projects. We do extra content, some movie related, some hangouts, some bonus content here and there. Join such stalwart individuals as Austin Cadell, Jeremiah Morris, Matthew Kern, Brandon Buckingham, Jeff Haltman. I really couldn't do it without any of them. And the rest of my crew as well. I really appreciate them. They really help me keep the lights on. But if you can't, I get it. I get it. Now, next week is it's a seminal time here on Crown Jewels. It's the first time we're going to delve outside of the Queen proper catalog. 1977, after A Day at the Races, drummer Roger Taylor released his first solo single, a track called I Want to Testify, with the B-side of Turn on the TV. So the next 2 weeks, we're going to break into the Roger Taylor vault and talk about them. I can't wait. I love Roger Taylor's solo career a lot. It's probably my favorite solo career overall. All that maybe I'll have to figure that out as we go along. Which ones? And I think about Freddie's career. I like some of Freddie's stuff, like Barcelona. Brian has some great solo stuff as well. We'll get there though. But that's next week. So stay tuned. Keep yourself alive, everybody. And as always, God save.